Good evening and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Speed Tuesday Dash Series here at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedways. Joining me as always in the booth is Joe. I'm Bob, and Joe, tonight's race at Nashville Fairgrounds, a very, very fun racetrack. A lot of bumps, an old surface, so things could get a little hairy as these drivers race around this 0.57 mile short track oval in Nashville, Tennessee.
Love me the short tracks, love me the bumps, love me the chaos.
And we are certainly going to see a ton of chaos out there tonight. Ethan Amberg so far fastest on the board with a 20.89 second lap. Martin Plute second in qualifying with a 21 second lap, so a whole 1/10 of a second. Amberg has over Plute. Jason Shue third, Scott Leonard in fourth, Tim Branson in fifth. Tim is the sponsor for tonight's race, as tonight is the Tim Branson Dash. Tim Branson, eat fresh. Or always fresh. That is Subway. Two different things. Philip Scott. Philip Scott coming out of turn number 4. Let's see what he could do here for his lap time. Scott's first lap goes second on the board with a 20.95. And right there you could really see the suspension flex as he goes through the corner. Just kind of getting an idea of how bumpy and fairly high bank this track is. There's Branson running the mini oval on the inside of the track.
Gotta get some laps in.
Glad the crew chief or the pit crew there got out of his way. Stan Hausman on track as well. He's on the mini track as well. Plenty of drivers just kind of playing around until their lap is over. Hausman, the only car on the racetrack at the moment. And even then, he's not technically even on the racetrack.
He's on a racetrack.
Yeah. There is a racetrack that he is currently on. However, the mini version of Nashville, which is what Stan is driving on right now, actually utilizes the front stretch of the racetrack here. So, a little awkward getting there and making the hard right turn onto pit road. But definitely a fun layout, and I wasn't 100% sure which version of Nashville that the Speed Dash Series is racing here tonight. But this is the mini that Stan is driving through, and Martin Plute in the chat says moment of silence for the pit crew. R.I.P. in peace. The look of defeat there on the face of that crew member here, as qualifying just about wrapped up here. As we wait for the countdown to finish, there is going to be a heat race for tonight. That will determine the starting lineup for the race. As the track falls silent. Little different scenario here tonight as far as the race is concerned. Typically, for these races, as broadcasters, we can actually kind of spectate the race instead of joining in on the race. And for tonight, there was no option for that. So we are technically joined in on the race. So you'll see our names come up on the starting lineup. But just know that we're not actually racing here tonight. And as we say,
you wouldn't want to see what we look like.
No, you definitely do not.
Bob would probably have a fair shake. I don't think he'd want to see what I look like.
Well, let's take a look here at the starting lineup for the heat race for tonight. Ethan Amberg on the pole with a 20.893 second lap. Philip Scott just on his outside, missing the pole by 4/100ths of a second. Martin Plute, Jason Shu make up row number 2. Row number 3 is Scott Leonard and Stan Hausman. Tim Branson will wrap up tonight's 7-car field for tonight, since neither Joe nor I count for tonight's race.
Nice to see me up there, but that's all you're going to see, folks.
You're just going to see us constantly finishing however many laps down this race is. So the field running the engines, getting themselves ready to go, trying to burn off as much fuel as possible just to make the car ever so slightly faster. But once the timer clicks down, we'll be getting ourselves ready to race here for the heat race. 15-lap heat race here. As you see the starting lineup roll across the top of your screen. And just like that, pace car should be getting ready to roll off any moment now. As the field will pull out onto the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. And Joe, this is a very bottom-heavy racetrack, even middle-heavy too. Once this race goes on, there's a couple of odd bumps coming out of turn 2 that if you're not super ready for them, they very well could affect your day. Especially coming out of turn 2, if you have warm tires. You know, that's something these drivers are definitely going to have to keep an eye out for as this race goes on.
We'll see how it goes. I know we always talk about what the great line is or what the good line is for these tracks, but then it turns out as these guys kind of start cooking, they kind of start to ignore those lines.
Yeah, and it's all about, it's all in the name of finding grip. So where can they get the best way through the corner that's not going to hurt their tires, it's not going to cook the tires. Here we're going to see a lot of right front being used where they're getting through the corner, so it's definitely something to keep an eye on. However, that being said, pace car pulls off, green flag is in the air, and we're rolling here for the heat race. Ethan Amberg gets a great jump. Philip Scott stuck on the outside. He's got Martin Plute to his inside. Plute all over the back bumper of the 14 of Amberg. A couple of cars get into the wall. Here comes Plute diving down to the inside. Plute to the left rear wheel, slides up, doesn't want to push up the track any more than he has. Amberg leads lap 1. Here comes Philip Scott to put the pressure on Plute. Don't forget, as always, tonight's camera is brought to you by our friends at Track Cams for Gourmets. You can check them out in the link in the video description below. As trouble, looked like Scott Leonard might have snagged a piece of the outside wall. He's okay. As we're back underway, 13 laps to go here in the heat race. Out front,
everyone has found single file.
Yes, single file right now in the top 3 of all, kind of pulled away ever so slightly as we ride on the back bumper of the 14 of Ethan Amberg. He's got Martin Plute all over his back bumper. Plute looks like he might have snagged the wall ever so slightly. "21-second laps here at Nashville, the Fairgrounds. Plute Drives up the wall as both Amberg and Ploot snag the wall ever so slightly. Great looking crowd on hand to watch this Tuesday Dash Series. And this at just such a great racetrack as well. Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway has been trying to get the NASCAR Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series to race here.
Really?
Now we got a battle for second. Philip Scott takes a peek to the inside of Martin Ploot. They're side by side out of the corner. And Philip Scott moves his way back into second. Top three all staying where they've started, as Jason Shue snags the wall coming out of four. But yeah, Joe, the owners of Nashville Fairgrounds, this is an old-time NASCAR track, and the owners have been wanting to try to get a NASCAR National Series to race here at Nashville. And a lot of what has been proposed has been fought, just like any other place that deals with racetracks, has been fought by people who, you know, bought a house, bought property near a racetrack, and then complain that the racetrack exists.
Ah, the classic.
And one of my favorite excuses that they've used is that there are 7 other Formula One racetracks near Nashville, so why should NASCAR race here? Yes, that doesn't make sense.
No, not even a little bit.
Had a buddy actually gone to a race last weekend here, and from what it looked like, it was an incredible series. Super late models are raced here pretty much on a weekly basis as well. They've got some big time, big named races that go off here every year too. So definitely a very cool place here, as we got a battle for third now. Scott Leonard putting some pressure on Martin Ploot. Leonard to the inside. He's got help from the 92 of Branson. Branson not quite able to get to him to give him a little shot in the back. Here comes Leonard trying to take a peek. 2 laps to go. Here as Philip Scott takes the lead. Or does he? Here comes Amberg fighting his way back on the outside. They're side by side for the lead. Amberg controls. Philip Scott goes wide, tries to get himself a run out of the corner. White flag, 1 to go. Barry the flagman decided, nope, I'm not going to wave the white flag here, but still 1 more to go. Coming out of turn number 4, checkered flag in the air. Ethan Amberg is going to win the heat race. As further back, Martin Ploot gets sideways. Looked like Stan Hausman 3 laps down.
He pitted relatively early. Not sure what that was about.
So we've got ourselves a quick warm-up session here for these drivers to get themselves ready to go after the heat race. Track conditions changing from session to session. Track crew goes out, cleans up the racetrack, and gets themselves ready to go. Right now, Stan Hausman, the only driver out on the track at the moment. But even then, Hausman does his mini lap and says, you know what, I think I'm good here. Martin Ploot goes through the minis oval as well.
I was going to say, does someone feel like I'm watching the Looney Tunes? should have made the right at Albuquerque.
I know we have a lot of left turns, but holy cow. Wasn't sure which left we're taking. Following the wrong GPS. As we see Tim Branson also running the mini oval.
So the mini oval is a quarter-mile track.
Makes sense.
Wild,
half the distance there. So technically, you could fit a football field in the middle of this this mini oval.
Apparently, they do concerts here.
You know what? Seeing that stage there on the front stretch, that tracks. And it also looks like they have some figure 8 layouts here. As if we back this up to right about there, you can see the figure 8, the triangle of different colored asphalt. So it looks like they do some figure 8 events here at Nashville Fairgrounds as well.
Likes to keep people on their toes.
I still think that they should make they should do this race on the figure 8 layout at either Irwindale or Slinger.
What could go wrong?
Right? Make damage permanent and just make it like the figure 8 races.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Speaking of damage permanent,
like there.
Yeah.
Wolf.
So there's some fun facts about this track.
Lay it on me. Let's hear them.
So this was originally a horse racing track, and it is the oldest continually operating track in the United States. It opened in 1904 and hasn't stopped running.
Wow. All the more reason to get Nashville or NASCAR to Nashville. They race at the Super Speedway probably about 40-ish minutes south of Nashville proper. And they're also in the plans or in the process or have just recently built the MLS stadium for Nashville's MLS soccer team directly behind the stadium here. Or behind the racetrack. So they're trying to make it an all-in-one venue and are trying to get the town to give some money to the track to help, build it up and everything like that.
Yeah, let it keep cooking. Like 130 something years.
Yeah, I mean, just keep it going, keep the track alive. Always fun to see. Branson out on the big track now. It is always fun to see, how long it takes for them to do the inside lap versus the outside lap.
Yeah, well, the inside's a lot more flat.
Yeah.
I feel like if they really want to cook on the inside, you gotta, drift it.
Right. As we see the drag race between the 14 and the 92. So with one race down, getting into the main event here momentarily. Seven cars enter as Phantom smoke pours out onto the track.
We don't ask questions.
Sometimes you just got to let things happen, As now let's take a look at the starting lineup for the Tim Branson Dash. 70 laps here at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway. On the pole is Ethan Amberg by virtue of winning the heat race. Philip Scott second. Row number 2, we have Martin Plute and Scott Leonard. Tim Branson, Jason Shu. Row number 3, Stan Hausman will wrap up this 7-car field tonight as Joe and I are here in the broadcast booth bringing you all the action here at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway.
We're just there for show.
Sun is setting. The lights are on here at the fairgrounds. And in just about a minute, we'll be getting ourselves ready to race. As the pace car pulls off, we'll take a look here at the starting lineup going across the top of your screen here at Nashville. So 70 laps. And Joe, I think with that heat race, we learned a little bit as to where guys can make passes, where they can push a little bit. And I'm sure the drivers also learned, oh, you know, that was a 15-lap race. I kind of pushed my tires a little much. Maybe I need to back off for the second part of this one.
Yeah, that's a thing that I still haven't learned yet, but it's an interesting racetrack because you got the somewhat high banks, but I don't know kind of what line they ended up. They were pushing more towards the top, even though you said the inside was the fastest line. So maybe that was just to kind of cool the tires down a little bit.
Yeah, I think that very well could have. You know, the bottom line is usually the fastest way around. But depending on the time of day, it's, you know, the temperatures are cooling off just a little bit. 86 degree track temp, 84 degree air temp. So things are starting to cool off. Not a whole lot of sliding around. So maybe that second lane will be the better idea. And we are going to find out here. Green flag in the air. We're racing here at Nashville. Martin Plute gets a great jump. Tries to take a peek to the inside of Ethan Amber. Can't quite do so. And now he's got Philip Scott to his outside as they're side by side down the back straightaway. Plute tries to get a nose in front of or underneath Amberg. Can't. And out of turn number 4, Ethan Amberg leads lap 1. Tim Branson gets into the wall ever so slightly here, but here's Martin Plute trying to take a peek to the outside now. He might have a better run down the front stretch. Here comes Plute to the inside of Amberg. Scott Leonard, too, also all over the back bumper of Philip Scott as we're side by side for the lead down the back.
Yeah, I think Plute might be racing hard in this beginning because he wants to get in front of Amberg to see if he can dictate the pace of the race, as opposed to Amberg kind of, you know, doing his usual, I'm going to go to the front, I'm going to dictate the pace. I might lose you guys for a while. I think it's important for these guys to hop up front. Be like, no, you slow down and stick with us.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what Plute is trying to do here. He's got himself a pretty decent lead. Amberg all over the back bumper now of Philip Scott as he tries to race. Now here comes Scott Leonard also trying to force the issue. Plute opens up about a 0.3 of a second gap over the field. Amberg and company still trying to chase. Great battle brewing here for second and for fourth as Hausman all over the back bumper of Scott Leonard. Pretty good fight on our hands now for second as Amber trying to pressure Philip Scott. Scott saying calm, cool, and collected and hanging out P2. Tonight's race also brought to you by the Boston Sauce Party this Saturday, Trillium Brewing in Canton, Massachusetts. Check out some of New England's best hot sauce makers. Try some of your own, and oh yeah, the beer's pretty dang good too. BostonSauceParty.com for the website.
So excited about it.
Adam Stewart popping in the chat. Adam, how's it going? Week off from TNR. TNR guys are going to be back in action next Monday night. That is also going to be the regular season finale before the playoffs.
Playoffs.
Yeah, that is going to be a wild, wild time. And even here, too, with the Tuesday Dash Series, one more race after tonight to seal it all. Schedule says the race will be at Rockingham. I do believe it's going to. Adam saying it's going, thinking about racing in this series next season. Absolutely should. It's a ton of fun. A lot of great drivers here. Very clean races. Always a good time as Martin Plute has opened up his lead to about half a second now over Ethan Amberg. 0.2 difference between Amberg and Scott, as well as Scott Leonard. That is the one difference you see here versus the other tracks. You're not actually seeing the drivers downshifting like you've seen them race at other tracks. Everyone, for the most part, kind of staying in gear. I think, though, as this run goes on, some drivers will wind up shifting just because the tires start to fall off. You lose some grip, you lose some speed. And maybe you do fall in that window of, yeah, I probably should downshift here.
A thought that never entered my mind.
And I know oftentimes it's, it's pretty negligible as to whether or not you actually need to shift. More often than not, it's just a matter of, do you really feel like it? Do you mentally need it? Or is it, is it just one of those, higher revs make me feel like the car turns better? Almost like the, you're given like a sugar pill as opposed to actual medicine.
Ah, yes, the placebo.
Yeah.
That's why all electric cars. That's why all electric cars still have motor noises. They're like,
Yep.
No. You won't feel like you're in a car unless we make the motor noise through your speakers.
That or the terrifying UFO alien sound when you put the car in reverse.
Yeah, mine doesn't do that, but mine does sound like an organ going forward. So I was pulling up to one of my friend's houses, and he's like, I feel like I'm about to be run over by an organ, and I don't like it.
Not with that attitude.
Don't you make fun of my car?
Philip Scott trying to make a move on Ethan Amberg. He doesn't now. Scott's going to go towards the higher line, tries to duck back down, get himself a run down the front stretch. Amberg catches the wall. This is going to be an opportunity for Philip Scott. Scott gets his nose in. They're side by side. Scott pushes up, still even at a 2. Leonard still not going away, right off the back bumper of Amberg, as we can move Philip Scott back up to P2. Everyone running where they started except for Plute and Amberg. They have traded spots. Scott started second, running second, Leonard 4th. Branson 5th, Shu 6th, Hausman 7th. Jump on board here with Philip Scott. 100 miles an hour, dropping off into the corner. Gets right back on the gas. He's all over the back bumper of the 81.
It does not get much closer than that.
Scott cuts back down. Now we're side by side into turn 1. Philip Scott to the point. Or does he? Plute tries the crossover. He catches the apron ever so slightly. That kicks him sideways. Here comes Amberg to the outside. Philip Scott in the black and blue 90. He's going to lead now by about 0.3 of a second over Amberg. Plute and Scott Leonard all still in the picture. Then we have to go almost 2.3, 2.4 seconds back to Branson, who's in 5th. And then another second back to Jason Shu. Track map on the screen to see where your favorite driver is currently. You see the top 3 all under a blanket right now, heading off into turn 1.
You can really see right as they go to enter that passenger front tire is like really starting to lift.
Yeah, and you'll kind of see that out of the corner, and it's not even a power thing. It's more just the track and the way you're kind of coming out of the corner and out of the banking. The car almost wants to lift the right front up as you're turning.
I can't imagine the bumps are helping.
No, certainly not, especially right there where you saw the 90 of Philip Scott. His car almost started to shake a little bit. There's a big bump on the inside of turn 2 towards the exit. Let's see here as the 14 and the 90 side by side battling it out for the lead. Keep an eye out here. I'll point it out for you when they go through it. Right there. You can kind of feel the car bounce a little bit. That really upsets the cars. Oh, trouble. Yellow flag out on the track. Looks like we have an issue with Scott Leonard.
He must have spun out. I think he was all by himself.
Let's take a look here. As here's the 19 of Scott Leonard in the back in the black and white machine. Down the front stretch. Into turn 1, and oh, right there. Combination between the bump and catching the apron. Oh, nope. And Branson gets into him.
And there's the caution.
Ton of damage.
Yeah, tire's not good.
The road is
bumpy, but it's not that bumpy.
Yeah, I can already hear his crew chief saying, "Oh, you've got tire damage." And oh, yeah, that car will not turn. Oh,
he can't even get to the pits. Oh, maybe bang it into the wall and make the tire turn.
As we can confirm, there is Scott Leonard on the top of your screen on pit road. But if he can pull into his pit box, that's the next question, as Philip Scott wins the race off of pit road.
I was going to say, I think he's actively trying to turn. There he goes. He got there.
Oh, let's see. He might be a little too close to the wall. He is. Oh, that.
Man, you can see the oh, man. I think that's race over for him. I think he lost the knuckle.
Yeah, you can see right there the wheel is pushed almost too far forward into the wheel well.
See what they could do.
So not
the benefit of these cars is that they are basically regular cars with almost off-the-shelf parts. I got to imagine that these tire components and suspension is not anything special.
Yeah, definitely maybe a little bit of race spec things.
We were going like Gran Turismo's. We're in like the Sport Plus mode.
Yeah. Yeah, things you're buying, you're probably buying some more race spec items, but you're also probably getting your AutoZone special there too.
Let's see if he can get back out on the track.
Adam Stewart saying, yeah, that bump definitely spun him, and Scott never give up. So the pace car pulls off. Philip Scott on the point. He's got Martin Plute to his outside. Green flag is out. And it's a drag race down into turn number 1. Philip Scott gets the whole shot. Here comes Ethan Amberg to the inside of the 81 of Plute. Now Plute holding strong on the outside around Philip Scott as the 3 of Jason Shue snags the wall out of 2. Plute to the point. Scott now has a mirror filled with the 14 of Ethan Amberg as we're halfway through tonight's race. The Tim Branson Dash here is part of the Speed Tuesday Dash Series. Adam in the chat says, AutoZone, Pep Boys for the win. I think for me, the closest Pep Boys is somewhere over in PA over the bridge.
I think I have an advanced auto 20 seconds away from a Pep Boys. There are turf wars up in Central Jersey for these things. Don't evoke the name of one of them because the other one's fans will start yelling at you.
Oh, yes. That, or we could just say O'Reilly, and we have a million people singing in the chat, along with the owl at the end. Though I feel like that's not a very New Jersey or Northeast auto parts place, O'Reilly.
No, you know what? Now I want to know what the closest one is.
The important things we talk about here during these races.
Because I've never seen one.
Yeah, I feel like they're just not in the Northeast because of the AutoZone and Advance and, you know, some Pep Boys here and there too.
The closest one by me is in Westchester County, New York.
Huh.
Yeah. Yep. I don't think there's any in Jersey.
The more you know.
Yeah. See? I told you I've never seen one.
You know, that tracks. Let's see if we can find one on our way up to Boston this weekend.
We should pass one. It's in Connecticut. They have them in Connecticut.
Oh, perfect.
We got to take pictures like we're in a Buc-ee's or something.
We've reached the promised land of O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I bought a spark plug.
Why? Why not?
For my e-vehicle.
Meanwhile, back at the track, Martin Plute has the lead over Ethan Amberg. Amberg all over the back bumper of Plute. Philip Scott joining into the fight as well. We've got a change in position for 4th. That's Tim Branson. He's got it over Stan Hausman. Scott Leonard still down on pit road. Leonard been on there for just over 5 minutes now.
Yeah, it doesn't look promising for him getting back out there.
Certainly not. As they drive past the Advance Auto Parts billboard in turn 4.
Well, we know who's who in Nashville.
By the way, if you like what you see, and God, why would you at this point? Just with our auto parts rambling, make sure you like and subscribe. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, follow us along on Twitch as well. Bring you Total Nonstop Racing League Monday night races, Tuesday Dash Series, and though on a bit of a hiatus right now, the Tabletop Trio podcast Wednesday evenings, 8 o'clock Eastern, right here on the Tabletop Trio podcast network. Laps winding down, 24 laps to go. Battle for the leads heating up.
You think they're going to need fuel? Probably not, because we had the caution. I think these cars are running at 90% today.
So let's take a look at that, because it's going to be interesting. It looks to me like Martin Plute, Philip Scott, Tim Branson, and Stan Hausman all either took 2 or no tires that time by. Amberg with a 21.5-second pit stop. He might have gotten 4. And Shu 17.5, probably that might have been 2 tires and fuel. So I think they're going to be okay on fuel. Tires, it's going to be interesting to see if Martin's tires go or if Amberg got 4 just to try something new.
Impressive that he got all 4 and was still able to kind of pick up right where he left off.
Yeah, he restarted probably in about 4th, give or take. But he was able to fight his way up. But now Plut's kind of got the fresh air, the clean air, the fresh track in front of him. He can just kind of run his line and almost play a little more defense. And, you know, just kind of run the line that the other guy's not. As here comes Amberg taking a peek to the inside as Plut able to hold him off still.
I guess Plut was like, yeah, maybe I'll go a little bit higher than I normally would. And Amberg kind of was like, hey, you sure about that? Sure you want to do that?
Sure.
I wonder if it's starting to get to Plut's tires, and that's why he wanted to go a little higher.
I think it could. I mean, they're probably just trying to search to see, okay, you know, maybe let's see if we can do something else. Here comes Amberg to the inside of Plut. Amberg slides up the track ever so slightly. No contact there, but leaves plenty of room. And Philip Scott says, guys, I want to get in on this. He thought about taking it 3 wide.
He really did. He went.
We could see the gears turning as they've all thought slightly better. But here comes Philip Scott taking the extreme high line. He's going to try to cut down here and get a run off of 4, but he might be a little too far away to try that this time. But if he keeps that momentum down, that might be the best way to kind of enter high, shoot down low, almost like you're racing at Bristol or Dover. That's kind of the line you get, and you wind up getting a dang good run down the front stretch. 15 laps to go. Plut still holding strong on the point. You can just see how close to the wall they get there at a 2. Almost made me kind of jump there for a second.
Right.
Here comes Amberg yet again, trying to get a run on Plut. You know, I don't know if that's a German name. Probably. But then again, you're talking to people who are Giaquinto and Annunziata.
Yeah. I know one Plutney's from Canada, but that means nothing, so.
All Americans here in the field tonight. No Mike Floppy Tellier to bring out the Canadian aspect here.
I say his name 3 times, will he just show up in the chat?
Floppy, floppy, floppy. Okay, it didn't work. 10 laps to go here. Plut able to hold off Amberg for the time being. As Stan Hausman has an issue. He's able to keep it going with 9 to go now. Let's take a look to see what happened here with the 39 of Hausman. Down in the corner. Oh, he just caught the apron and it shot him around. Luckily, though, he was kind of in no man's land and able to keep it going without a yellow. Meanwhile, out front, the top three all under a blanket, snuggled up tight. Less than 0.4 of a second separate the top three. Side by side for second. Plute goes up the block. He catches the 14 of Amberg. Now Philip Scott takes a peek to the inside. Plute trying to make his car 4 cars wide.
Yeah, just stick your hands out the window or something.
No, can't get through. Scott battles hard there with the 14 of Amberg. 5 to go across the line. Through turns 3 and 4, Philip Scott goes back to his high-low line.
We are just trading positions here.
Let's run on board here, coming to 3 to go. Scott enters high, he gets that high line rolling. Tries to drive it down, and you can definitely see where that line is going to work. But is he going to have enough time to get it wound up enough?
Yeah, it's like he has to let off right there or else he's going to hit the back. Oh, that might be his opening.
That time through Philip Scott, 1/10 of a second faster than Amberg. But with 2 to go, can he get it done? Around the top side, white flag in the air, 1 more lap around. Down the back straightaway. 0.2 of a second separate the 14 and the 81. Amberg not able to get to him in time. At a turn number 4, Martin Plute is going to win the Tim Branson Dash at Nashville Fairgrounds.
Man, what a showing these guys put on.
What a finish. What a great race. Martin Plute gets the win over Ethan Amberg. Philip Scott comes home 3rd. Tim Branson 4th, Jason Shue 5th, Stan Hausman comes home 6th. As the 81, he's going to celebrate here at the fairgrounds. Potentially.
I thought he was going to do a little crab walk. There we go. For a second there, I thought he was trying to spell his name.
Hey, there he goes. Now he's got the donuts going.
No, he's definitely hitting that corner.
I don't know how the 39 or the,
yeah,
the
we don't
92
have
and him
questions.
didn't touch there.
That was like Christmas miracle is what that was.
As the rest of the field does laps around the infield mini, here comes Branson again. What a finish. Some good, clean racing there. As the 81 still trying to keep the celebration going. Just waiting on Philip Scott to be able to jump into the interview waiting room. And Joe, I believe you've caught up with our third place finisher, driver of the number 90, Philip Scott.
Much horse. Oh, yo.
Hey, Philip. Congrats on the podium finish. How are you feeling about your performance tonight?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I knew it was kind of a small field today, but I knew with the two guys that finished in front of me that it was going to be a fun race no matter what. And yeah, it was I don't care how big the field is or how small. I always love to just go at it all out, and it was a blast racing with them. I was just telling them before I came in. I'm like, how much horsepower do these things have? Because it's so tough to pass, but it does make really tight racing. And yeah, I led there for a bit, and then the yellow came out, and then I didn't get a good jump off the start, and yeah, but that's all that said, it was just a lot of fun just to be able to race close and stuff, and yeah, I'll take it.
Absolutely. I'd say the last 10, maybe 15 laps, we noticed you were trying to take the high line to dive in, but you weren't quite able. Were your tires just kind of done at that point, or what was?
Um, yeah, I didn't want to. So it was really easy to kill the right front here if you weren't careful, and so I did a really good job of that the first stint, but I didn't want to like keep on. I didn't want to like just keep on really trying to attack because I knew that there was still a decent amount of time left, and I didn't want to burn my tires up when I really needed them later on, because I had a feeling that we were just going to go bumper to the end, so I didn't want to do anything to kind of ruin my chances of winning. And so I could have pushed a little bit more, but yeah, I was really pushed. There was like a couple little like short bursts where I was trying to push. So like when I finally got it under Ethan, and I was really starting to try to get to Martin's quarter panel, but I was kind of stuck on the inside. I was really trying to lean on that right front and really make the car turn, but yeah, the momentum is just king here in these cars. So yeah.
Absolutely. Well, still a fantastic finish for you. I'm sure you got some shout outs for us.
Yeah, just shout out to you guys for streaming this race. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, shout out to Ethan and Martin, because they definitely were a lot of fun to race with. We were just battling back and forth, and hopefully we can do it again next week.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations again, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, that's Philip Scott, our second place finisher. I'm now joined by our third place finisher, rather. I'm joined by our second place finisher, driver of the number 14, Ethan Amberg. And well, Ethan, congrats again on the second place finish. Talk us through that race. You had a good battle between you, Philip, and Martin pretty much the entire run.
Oh, for sure. That was 10,000% a track position battle. Once you got position on somebody and the tires started to wear, especially that right front, once it got pretty hot, it was tough to pass, so you really had to try to set things up. And if you could get to the outside, that was about the only way you were making a pass later on in the run.
And, we saw a couple of different lines out of you guys trying to fight through. Specifically, I saw, you and Philip almost entering higher into the corner just to cut down low. Did you notice that kind of helped you get a good run down the straightaway, or was that just kind of a matter of go where the other guy isn't?
A little bit of both. It definitely helped get a run out of the corner and up onto the back straight and coming onto the front straight out of 4 to try to set up a pass or get to the inside, or maybe sometimes even put yourself into position to make a move up top if the opening was there. But it was also just trying something different, running the same line every single lap. While it's disciplined, it's not the most fun sometimes. So we wanted to change it up a little bit and run where the other guys weren't and see if there was some speed where we hadn't been running. And a couple instances there was. Sometimes there was, and there wasn't anywhere to go with it. So it was pretty fun to work through. That was actually really awesome racing between the top 3 there.
Definitely, and it was a lot of fun just kind of seeing you guys race nose to tail for what felt like the entire 70 lap race. Moving forward now to next week, last race of the season, I believe still at Rockingham as of right now. So what are your thoughts there? You already raced there at the beginning of the season. Anything you're looking to kind of change up for next week?
Not necessarily, provided that Rockingham is the way the schedule ends up deciding to tilt. It's a fun track in these cars. It's fast. It's completely different driving style than any of the other short tracks we've driven since probably Darlington on the schedule. It drives a lot more like a super speedway in these things with some pretty good tire wear. It's a lot of fun. So if that's the way it ends up going, I think I actually ended up taking home the win there to open the season up here. So hopefully we can repeat.
That is for sure. And Ethan, before we let you go, I'm sure you have some shout outs, so let's hear them.
Yeah, huge shout out to Martin and Philip, Stan for putting the league on. Anybody who we raced with tonight wasn't a huge field, but the racing was pretty darn good throughout the whole thing, it looked like. You guys for putting on a great broadcast. Appreciate you being up in the booth and giving everybody somebody to listen to and watch. It's always fun going back and watching the awesome racing after we get to be a part of it.
Awesome. Well, Ethan, congrats again on the second place finish, and looking forward to chatting with you next week at Rockingham.
Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
All right. That is Ethan Amberg, our second place finisher tonight. And Joe, you've caught up with our winner here, driver their 81 machine, Martin Blute.
Hey, Martin, congrats on the win. Big win for you. What was your kind of key to victory tonight?
Track position mainly. This was a tire saving race. That first, well, up until the caution, it reminded me of Talladega when you're watching the Cup Series. Fuel saving. Nobody was pushing it at all. It was all just take care of the right front. So, luckily, that caution got a jump on Philip there and was able to just kind of hold everybody back because I certainly was not the fastest person tonight.
Now, was there a moment you kind of knew you had the race, or were you fighting tooth and nail toward the end there?
No, I mean, when Ethan and Philip are behind you, I don't know that you ever feel very comfortable. Those two are very good. So, I as long as I could keep kind of the top blocked off and Ethan couldn't get up there, I felt pretty confident. But you never really know until the end. It was the tires were coming apart at the end there, so wasn't really sure what to do.
Well, you were able to stay out front. I'm sure you got some shout outs for us.
No, thank you guys for broadcasting. Philip, Ethan for a fundraise there, and Stan for putting this all together. Stan works a lot, works pretty hard to put this together. So appreciate him and appreciate Tim for sponsoring tonight.
Absolutely. Well, congrats for the win, and hopefully we'll be talking to you next week.
See you guys next week.
All right. That is Martin Plute, our winner here for tonight's Tim Branson Dash. And Joe, let's take a peek now at the final standings for tonight's race. It was a ton of fun. Martin Plute gets the win over Ethan Amberg and Philip Scott. Top three, all less than half a second separating them. Tim Branson, our sponsor for tonight, comes home in fourth. Jason Shu, fifth. Stan Hausman in sixth. And Scott Leonard rounds out tonight's 7-car field for this evening. A ton of fun. Looking forward to next week's season finale already. As far as our broadcast schedule is concerned, you could join us at the Boston Sauce Party 2025 at Trillium Brewing in Canton, Massachusetts. That's going to be this Saturday. You can get all the info at bostonsauceparty.com. Total Nonstop Racing League is back in action Monday evening, and then the season finale for the Speed Tuesday Dash Series right here on the Tabletop Trio Podcast Network 1 week from tonight. So, Martin Plute gets the win for one final time. I'm Bob.
I'm Joe.
And this has been the Speed Tuesday Dash Series from Nashville Fairgrounds. Have a great night.